Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Fast Expand. We are jumping into game number 4 with the one and only EGStephano versus mTwSuperNova. And so far this series has been absolutely crazy with drops and multi-prong attacks and cheeses and everything. Daybreak lends itself to be an absolutely huge map with multiple attack paths, so hopefully more of what we've seen.
I would agree. What we've seen so far has been spectacular. I want to see more of it. And if there's any map, it's definitely Daybreak. And although some pros have been saying that because it's been used so often, because it is so balanced, it's kind of stagnating a bit.
Yeah, it's becoming...
It's still a really reliable map.
Yeah, it's becoming like Brood War was in the end sort of days of Brood War, where like every map was known, every strategy was known, and basically it became a game of who
could do it better.
Who could do it better, exactly. I mean, Brood War at the closing days of Brood War, everything had been figured out, all the timings had been figured out, all the everything was optimal. And then it came down to who had the better mechanics, or who could maybe do something crazy and new that hadn't been figured out yet. But again, that was very, very rare. So yeah, maps that have been in the map pool a long time, like Daybreak, for example, that has been played GSL before it became a ladder map, has been figured out for optimal strategies. And although the meta game has changed, the optimal strategy usually kind of come in very, very quickly. An interesting kind of thing Stephano's doing on this map is he's scouted early. He's scouted very early. He is worried about a 2-racks again, definitely.
I would agree. Very paranoid from the previous map, and it's not going to help that he hasn't seen a racks yet. And he also doesn't see this expansion going down for Supernova, so he's going to be so paranoid right now.
Yeah, I mean, Stephano just scouting absolutely everywhere now for proxy racks. I mean, I'm looking at his vision right now, and he did not see that command center. He's going to have to go back up the ramp just to make sure, and I think that's exactly what he's doing. The drone is just at the bottom of the ramp right this second. He's going to go up, he's going to see the barracks, and as long as he goes to the right, he's going to see his command center. But please, drone, please go to the right. No, but I guess he assumes.
No,
I guess he assumes command center first. Yeah, it's very hard to say because many people looking at this will go, well, I haven't seen a command center, he must be proxy raxing and then building one at home. But I think Stephano knows the timing so well that he can just assume this command center is going down, and he might actually get an SCV kill here. The drone wailing on the SCV and almost gets it. And Stephano doing a very, very good job at poking and prodding and slowing Supernova down, even by just making him move SCVs and stuff. I mean, it takes up APM that could be worker splitting or extra buildings going down like half a second earlier. It all makes a difference at this sort of level. So yeah, both players doing a very, very good job right now.
Absolutely, and what you mentioned about Stephano probably expecting a expansion, I do believe you're right, because we did see Stephano head down to that third base and have a look around. So he's either going to think that there was actually a proxy racks, in which case, where's the attack, which should have come by now,
yeah,
or there was an expansion in the base.
Yeah, I think he's known about this for a while, because as you mentioned, Stephano is a very greedy player, but if it's hard to be greedy if you know an attack's going. And I guess Stephano just kind of knew that his command center was going up by the barracks timing that he did see, and he's only built 2 lings. I mean, most players in this situation, especially kind of lower league players that wouldn't quite know what was going on, might build anywhere between 8 and 12 lings just to make sure they were safe because they didn't see a command center. But Stephano's knowledge of timings is extraordinary, to be perfectly honest.
His knowledge of everything StarCraft related is kind of extraordinary at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. And he is sending another Ling into Scout. Supernova playing extremely well at the moment, being extremely greedy, but just getting enough gas for this starport to come up. And it does look like he is going to open with this Banshee play again. Again, Daybreak lending itself to be a very, very favourable map for an early third base. But Stephano has put down a Roach Warren. That's an interesting tech choice.
It is. Roach is not as effective against Terran as we've seen them lately against, well, not lately, just for a while now against Protoss. They do work, but the thing is, Banshees kind of kill them. But
yeah,
it will definitely defend against this early Hellion harass if Stefano knows that that's what Supernova's doing, and it looks like he is predicting it because those roaches will be out in time to stop those Hellions.
Yeah, definitely. But there is only 2 Hellions on the map right now. I mean, I believe a couple more are just on their way out as well. Roaches are a very odd choice because most Terrans nowadays will go for the Banshee opening, or they'll go for the heavy bio opening. Not a lot of Terrans nowadays actually do this Hellion opening, which the Roaches are very, very good at. I mean, the Roaches can defend Hellions all day. They just won't kill them. Just a very, very interesting choice. I mean, I think Stefano's going to go for some aggression, but he's only made 4 Roaches. These Banshees are going to destroy Roaches. Sorry, he has made a couple more now. He has up to 7 Roaches. With no third base, and a 7 Roach at 7 minutes 50? It just doesn't make sense. I mean, I'm not sure what he's trying to do with this.
I don't think he's trying to put on an attack. I think he's very simply trying to put on pressure. He doesn't know about this Banshee. Now he does. And these Roaches will tank an awful lot of Banshee shots. So he's going to be able to get them in, try and pick off some Hellions, and possibly bust down a couple buildings before these Roaches do eventually succumb.
Yeah, maybe so, but I mean, he's going to lose all these Roaches, and I think they killed 1 Hellion and they took a shot at a bunker. And he's going to lose... Oh, okay, maybe they get away, but still, he's lost a lot, and that was a lot of investment. I mean, Roaches are fairly expensive considering early game economy. 75 minerals, 25 gas. Especially on the gas front. I mean, Zerg should be investing their gas into layer, infestors, and upgrades. And when you spend kind of, what would it be, around 150 gas on Roaches, I mean, that's a lot of gas early game.
Couldn't agree more. And I'm very surprised that any of those Roaches really got out of there for Stefano. That was a very risky move, like you said, and it didn't really pay off for him.
Yeah, exactly. And now this is exactly what I'm talking about. I mean, what can Roaches do against this many Hellions and Banshees? Not a lot. I mean, they can push the Hellions back and allow the Queens to rain on the Banshees, but it just seems really awkwardly done. Stefano obviously knows a lot more about than I do, but look at me, these Hellions are just running past right now. The Roaches mean absolutely nothing, and if they get into this main mineral line, they can do some serious damage. Oh, they're lining up for him. That's bad news.
That was not good at all. The Roaches have arrived to try and clear this up, and they are doing a lot of damage, but these Hellions can dance around all day. But it doesn't look like Supernova is going to be able to micro out of this, and the Hellions will succumb.
Yeah, definitely. And Supernova actually losing both his Banshees on the... No, sorry, one of his Banshees on the top there as well. So overall, I mean, a fairly decent attack. If you look at the workers killed, 9 workers killed, and he did make a few more Roaches to compensate, and of course he did lose quite a lot of stuff there as well. So, again, like, I think Supernova made the right move, but Stefano somehow just had the right stuff. He always just seems to have the right amount of stuff.
It's not just he has the right amount of stuff, it's he only just has the right amount of stuff. He doesn't waste anything.
No, exactly.
Speaking of being wasteful, 20 lings on the way.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he's got a lot of lava and he's saving gas for infestors, so you may as well make use of them. Personally, I'd make drones at this stage, but Stefano obviously sensing maybe a bit of aggression, or he's going to put some aggression on himself, and judging by this ling position, he is going to go for some aggression, maybe to just deny this third, because around 12 minutes, especially with this kind of opening, is the right timing for a third base coming down. Stefano probably gearing up just to make sure that doesn't happen, but these Banshees are just doing so well. They're denying creep, they're denying these attack paths, and they're just scouting the entire map, and Supernova's even building a 4th command center right now. He is so greedy. I mean, we talk about Stefano being greedy, but Supernova's pretty greedy as well. I mean, he's ahead on SCVs at the moment.
He is very greedy. Like we saw him in the last game as well. Even though Stefano had the economic lead, Supernova was ahead on SCVs.
Yeah.
And Supernova's economy as Terran is one of the best in the world.
Yeah, I mean, Mule's supplementing SCVs, and of course, you know, SCVs being slightly harder to kill as well, only by 5 HP or so, but they are slightly harder. And of course, if you've got multiple command centers, and you can saturate a base with mules very, very quickly. And look at this, Supernova even putting down a 5th command center now. Absolutely crazy greedy play, and he's meching behind it as well. And Stefano's going for the kind of fairly quick Broodlords, but because of these Banshees just denying creep and, denying attack paths, it's going to come down to a big 200-200 army, and then it's going to be who can remax quicker, who can get the better engagement, I believe. I mean, this game could definitely go to like 6 base versus 6 base, basically, when, everything is taken, everything is crazy, and it could be just, massive army trades all game long, and I think that's where this game is kind of gearing towards.
Couldn't agree more. We just saw some Hellions get taken down by a quick fungal from Stephano. Not many Lings were lost, even though the Hellions did have that wonderful... No, they don't have the blue frame upgrade. I stand corrected, and I do apologize. But we have seen the Raven of Supernova is now out. He's going to be using that like he did in the previous games to help clear up creep. And if it gets into the situation with that 200-200 army, he will definitely be using it to get those Hunter-Seeker missiles.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, most Terrans now have been adding Ravens into the play because, some pros have started using them, started showing people how to use them as well. And that's what makes a big difference to these metagame shifts. But look at Supernova's upgrades. He's going to have 2-2 mech very, very shortly. And then he's going to go straight for those free upgrades, I imagine. And that is where the mech army gets almost unkillable in certain positions. I mean, if you have good positioning, good tank sort of sieges... free mech, it's very, very hard to kill. And look at this, Supernova making even more command centers, command center everywhere. He is almost going to be able to go 200 pure mech and just use mules for income, and I think that's where he's aiming. And if he gets to that position, there's no way Stephano can win. There is absolutely zero way. I say that, but at the same time I'm thinking if anyone can, it's Stephano. But this is looking absolutely terrifying as a Zerg player right now.
I could not agree more, and I say that in every possible way. Sorry, there is a small Ling Hellion attack, but that was cleared up very easily with a fungal and some Lings and Roaches.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Supernova's trying to be the the raider in this sort of situation. He's like nipping Hellions around and try to do a little bit of damage, try to keep Stephano like honest, basically. You're not just going to make 15 Broodlords and nothing else. I mean, I'm going to force you to make some Roaches, some Lings, etc. Oh my god, so many Banshees being caught out of position. That is a nightmare. I mean, I know it's only 3 or 4 Banshees, but that was basically all that was keeping Stephano in his base while Supernova made this army. But the army is devastatingly huge right now. We have a couple of Banshees, 5 4s, 8 tanks, and a Raven, and just more and more stuff on the way. And Supernova's set up a very, very scary position. Command centers everywhere, and I'm not sure what Stephano can do to actually make an attack here. I mean, he can't run into this siege line. He just can't. He can't really attack around the right-hand side because Supernova can just move a few units in there and everything's fine. But we are seeing a large attack now. Chris, what's going on?
Everything is going on right now, Colin. The tanks have now sieged up. Lings were able to pick off both the 4s and another 4. This is devastatingly bad for Supernova. The Ultralists are coming in, but they're being demolished by tank lines right now. And this is causing Stephano to pull back. The Banshees have been able to drive this back, but a huge amount of economy worth of 4s was killed off in those engagements.
Yeah, I believe you have 5 4s now down to 2, so 3 4s. But if you think what Stephano lost a lot of Infestors there, a lot of Ultralists, and gained practically nothing. I mean, this engagement pretty much Supernova lost 10 supply and was able to resupply almost instantly because mech takes just so much supply, and the units are so efficient as well. And this is almost how every kind of Zerg versus mech game goes, is the Zerg repeatedly tries to butt its head against this large wall that is mech, and every time the mech clears it up, the Zerg is forced back and it just goes nowhere. I mean, the only thing that can break this kind of line is Broodlords, and I think that's what Stephano's gearing towards now. We do see the double spire, and Stephano is taking every base, but if Supernova just decides to walk across the map, siege up, Stephano is not going to be able to kill it. He's just not going to be able to kill that army.
You are so right, Colin. This is going to be so difficult for him, and we did see some Hellions get caught out at the top of the map by some Ultralisks and the Infestors. These Infestors, they're going to be key, as if they're ever not key in an engagement against Terran. but they're going to be so key to help deal with these tanks, because right now the tanks are the biggest threat in this force, and there's so many of them with the 2-2 upgrades. It's so dangerous for Stephano right now. We're seeing 10 Corruptors on the way. They will morph into Broodlords when the Greater Spire finishes. For a second there, Stephano was building 2 Greater Spires, but he did cancel one just in time. And here we go, Stephano engaging at the Planetary Fortress of Supernova. Infested Terrans going down. Planetary Fortress will go down, but not before it kills off one Ultralisk. And there is a tank chilling in the back there that will be able to get a few Infested Terrans before it does die. And now these Banshees will finally clear the rest of this up.
Yeah, definitely. And this is exactly what I was talking about. I mean, Supernova could literally push across the map. Stephano's forced to counterattack, but, you know, this army is terrifying. The one that's actually moving, the one that's stationary could actually kill Stephano's army as well. So this is the major problem that, you know, Broodlord if you attack mech without any Broodlords, this is the kind of situation you find yourself in. Stephano now switching to Broodlords, but he doesn't quite have the supply because he's forced to defend. So, you know, he's trying to do this Broodlord transition, but if he gets caught in the middle of it, Supernova wins easily because he has no Broodlords. He doesn't have the army supply because it's all tied up in those Broodlords. It just gets really, really awkward. But Stephano doing a very, very good job at defending all his flanks right now from Hellions, and Supernova's just sitting pretty, building up that even scarier army, starting to add Vikings in. The free upgrades are almost finished. Weapons already done, armor on the way. Viking ship weapon level 1 coming as well. This is going to be a case of, you know, smashing against a wall, see who comes off better, remaxing, smashing against off a wall, see who gets, you know, the better and remaxing. This could go on for another 20-30 minutes yet before, you know, they start running out of minerals or somebody gets like a major advantage. And until that day, I don't think it's going to change. I think it's just going to be headbutting a wall and hopefully eventually something cracks.
That is true. It's definitely going to come down to economy, and Supernova has all these orbitals that are just building up energy, and when he's in the position he wants to be, he's expanding again. Oh my god, here come the Broodlords though. He may not actually get this expansion. Vikings moving in, but there's so many Corruptors right now. Maybe that supply, the fact that Stephano doesn't have enough supply, may save him here if these Corruptors can get these Vikings down. And here we go, point defense drone going down, which is blocking those Corruptors, and the Vikings are able to get a free shot. Infested Terrans going down. The tanks are decimating that line though, but they are being killed off one by one by a couple Broodlords. But here we go, Supernova deciding not to risk it, not pushing forward to finish off the weakened Broodlord. But Stephano wants to take this base down. There are tanks in range to lay siege to those units. But as I was just saying earlier, as Stephano has pulled back, when Supernova is feeling comfortable, he can basically get rid of a huge chunk of his SCVs and supply purely off mules. Yeah,
personally I think this should have already happened, to be perfectly honest. Judging by the sheer amount of command centers he has, this should have happened so much quicker. The SCV should have been traded a lot quicker, because right now Stephano does have a little bit of advantage and he's pushing in. The Broodlord's doing such a good job at clearing up this ground army. The Ultra is soaking everything, but the Corruptors are going down. The Infestors are out of energy as well. The Banshee's doing a great job at picking off all the Infestors. The Broodlords are gone, the Corruptors are almost gone, the Infestors are almost gone as well. This is really bad news for Stephano. Again, it's like headbutting a wall. I mean, if you do it enough times, maybe you crack it, but you're just going to hurt yourself more than you're going to do damage. And that's kind of what both these armies are doing right now. I mean, they're trading almost evenly, but because of the way Terran works, because they can trade 80 supply worth of SCVs for army and just use mules to mine, eventually this mech army gets too much, way too much, and I don't want it to get to a stage where it's like that, because it's just over dominating. I mean, when you trade so evenly and you play so well, and it gets to a point where they just have 90 more army supply than you could ever imagine getting, it's just horrible, and the Zerg needs to do something about that very, very quickly.
Indeed, the point in a Terran mech army is it has to be alive and it has to last a long time, or you are in a terrible position. Exactly. Basically, if you lose your mech army, that's your lifeline. It's gone, you are in trouble. But here we go, Stephano pushing forward, better positioning this time, taking control of that chasm area. Scans going down, trying to snipe some stuff with those Vikings. Infestors unable to get in and get the struggles. There are some Infestors actually. I couldn't actually see them under all the Corruptors, but there are some fours in the back that are just doing so much damage right now. However, Partridge Fortress is now up. There are some missile turrets that are helping out a lot, and this is still a fairly good position for Supernova. More 4s are coming in, and a huge amount of Vikings are going to be able to help with this. There's so many corruptors for Stephano though, and the Broodlords are in the perfect position to be able to lay siege to this, but the 4s were in range, but they're choosing not to focus down. But there we go, the last Broodlord is about to go down. The corruptors have taken air superiority, but the thing is, the majority of the damage for Supernova is now on the ground.
Yeah, definitely, and this is where it gets a little bit awkward to be a Zerg, because you need that air dominance. You need to stop his Vikings killing your Broodlords, but if they just start making 4s shoot up with tremendous damage, and of course being free upgraded as well is doing a lot. But Stephano is, as you said, taking air dominance with very, very well upgraded Corruptors, and as long as he keeps those Infestors alive and keeps those Corruptors as alive as possible, then he should win pretty much every engagement, as long as these Broodlords get in the fight and are not too interrupted. 4s are going to get absolutely locked down here with infested Terrans, and the Broodlords are moving in, and this is where Stephano takes his advantage. Broodlings raining down death, just eating 4s alive here. This is absolutely crazy damage.
Indeed, the 4s are not able to get near enough. There's quite a load in the back, and the Vikings are doing a lot of damage. There's a Spore Crawler that's been moved up as well. This is going very well for Stephano, though there's so many Broodlords that there's not enough anti-air this time. Instead of having too many Corruptors, he has just enough Broodlords. At the same time, Supernova has dropped Stephano the base nearest to Supernova with a single 4, which will be cleared up by Zerglings. But at the same time, this Partridge Fortress is under siege from so many Broodlords. Vikings just being killed off instantly by the infested Terrans right now. There's barely any Corruptors left, and it doesn't really need them right now. Doing such a great job. This Partridge Fortress will go down, and it was being fueled by just Mule, so not a huge loss there. The SCVs on gas will get out of there before they are killed off by the Broodlings.
Yeah, Stephano realizing this game might get very, very late, and he is trying to take as many bases as possible. I mean, even if this base doesn't establish, it stops Supernova just landing Command Center almost immediately. But right now, the army is in favor of Stephano, and all he has to do is keep resupplying with Corruptors, adding the occasional Infestor, and he can win this game. This is exactly what Stephano needed to do. Well upgraded Corruptors, but the Vikings are currently almost free attack upgrade as well. So it's getting very, very close, but I'd definitely give the advantage to Stephano right now. I don't think Supernova took the max amount of advantage he could have during that process where he had 80 SCVs and a bigger army. You know, that 80 SCVs could have been another 20 tanks, or, you know, another 20 Vikings, for example. You know, something crazy like that.
Or even just an extra couple seconds on his army with repair.
Exactly. I mean, I believe Supernova's kind of lost this game for himself. We do see a large attack on the right-hand side there. Good links around. No Hellions. What's going on?
There were some Hellions, but they were killed off very early in this attack due to fungals. And now these 4s are basically just going to be eaten away, and they will slowly incinerate due to lings and explode. There are 2 Partridge Fortresses though, so Stephano's not getting through this in a hurry without those Broodlords, and he is trying to get in. But what I said earlier with your mech army being your lifeline, Supernova lost his lifeline at that bottom base.
Yeah, definitely. Supernova trying to attack in small clumps here, and that's not how mech works. And Stephano, I don't know if it's kind of absolute predictability on Supernova's part, but Stephano just seems to catch these Vikings every single time. No matter where they are, those Corruptors are right behind them and just pick them off, and so far the Vikings are unable to do the damage they need to. I mean, they need to kill these Broodlords. I mean, that is their only purpose in life, is to kill these Broodlords, and considering Stephano just manages to catch them out of position every single time, they've just not been that useful. But we do see an assault on the top base here, but Supernova's running out of money.
He is. This is exactly the point in mech. He has so many minerals, hence why he's been building these Hellions, but no gas. He has no gas, whereas Stephano is surviving. He is able to get some gas in. Good engagement there for Supernova, though, able to keep that attack alive. The Broodlords have been forced to retreat due to the huge amount of 4s here, and Supernova does get that base, so that was a fairly good job by him.
Yeah, definitely. Stephano's 3rd base is mined out. His 4th base is almost mined out. This 5th base is still looking pretty good. And this bottom right-hand side base that was Supernova's is looking fairly fresh as well. I mean, if you look at the income tab, it's about even, but that's purely because of mules right now. But Supernova is, of course, mining out way quicker than Stephano is because of those mules, and that is going to play a big role in the next kind of 5 or so minutes. I mean, if Supernova runs out of money, that's it. Stephano's always going to have gas. He's practically always going to have minerals as well, and he's picking off small chunks of army, and that's exactly what he needs to do. The Broodlord's coming in now because the Vikings are all gone. He doesn't have the gas for Vikings, and that is going to play the major role in his battles.
Absolutely, this is kind of crazy right now, and the thing is, what I'd like to see Supernova doing here is the fact he has so many minerals and this army is so valuable to him. Just pull some SCVs, mine with just your mules and repair. You have the minerals for it, and if you keep this army alive, then you can win.
Yeah, exactly, but unfortunately I think he needs to get under the Vikings. I mean, those are the things that need... under the Vikings to repair.
Oh yeah, with the repair, sorry.
Yeah, and I think the Broodlords are just not going to let that happen, so the SCVs will be used greatly to repair the fours, but these Vikings are the major players right now, and to be honest, Stephano just keeps adding Corruptors and keeps adding Infestors, which makes Vikings almost useless, and it's getting down to the Vikings.
Here we go, we're seeing SCVs brought in for the repair. They're being Actually, no, they're being brought in for the attack. SCVs joining the fray right now and being killed off pretty much instantly. Lings getting in with the fours. Corruption going down on all of the fours. All really vulnerable at the moment. The Vikings are having to micro backwards, but there's so many Corruptors. Broodlords laying siege to these fours. Forced doing massive amounts of damage, but it's not going to be enough. They're all being killed off one by one in a slow and very painful death. The Corruptors have come back, killing off the last Viking. There are Hellions here trying to kill off these Broodlings, but it's not quick enough. The last 4 is going down, and there it goes. This is so much of a bad position now for Supernova. Does he have any more 4s on the map? No, he doesn't. He has 6 Hellions, 1 tank, and 1 Viking. It's not enough. These planetary fortresses are going to have to try and defend themselves against all these Broodlings. And the thing is, Supernova can't counterattack. He's at half Stephano's supply. There's nothing he can do.
No, he did try to run a few Hellions into that bottom left-hand side there, but unfortunately just wasn't enough. Drones managing to pick off the Hellion that was defending this top right-hand side base. Stephano's got the minerals to resupply, he's got the minerals to expand as well. Supernova just doesn't. He's actually on very minimum income right now. I do believe it's about 500, but it was at about 80 a second ago. He's managed to get some minerals somewhere. It looks like it's
mining
right.
2 mineral patches down the bottom, and that's it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and Stephano just has triple his supply. He has Broodlords, Infestors, and he's able to just keep adding units. And again, this come down to just money. And Supernova just didn't take as much an advantage as he needed to in those crucial kind of first engagements where, you know, he could have had 80 more supply. And it looks like Supernova's mineral thieving here with mules, and that's where he's getting his income from.
Yeah, it does look like he is doing that, but the mules are being killed off by this Ling defense. That's good use of your economy, of your resources there, but it's not like he needs it at the moment due to the Broodlords are all he really needs at the moment. We're seeing a 4 on the way, but we still only have 1 Viking, and as you said, the Vikings are the important part right now. And we're just seeing all these command centers that Supernova built earlier just being killed off for basically nothing because of these Broodlords.
Yeah, and I think we're going to see a GG very shortly. I mean, this damage just keeps on raining down, and Stephano just keeps adding Infestors and Broodlords, and there is literally nothing right now that Supernova can do. He's out of money. He has no units on the map. He just can't kill this army, and he can't expand. He can't get money. There's just no options for him right now, and that's very unfortunate considering, you know, it almost looked like he could win. And yeah, GG, well played, very well played. In fact,
very well played by both players there. That was amazing.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, Stephano winning that best of 5 series 3-1. Yes, that's right, 3-1. So yeah, Stephano dominating in every sort of situation apart from when Supernova's control and micro is just too good in that 3rd game and won it very early. But it seems like the longer the game goes, the better Stephano gets.
Well, we've all known that for quite a while. Stephano is fantastic in the late game.
Yeah, I have to agree, but he's fantastic in the early game, he's fantastic in the mid game, he's fantastic in the late game. No wonder he wins so many tournaments.
Oh, we wonder how he's winning. Maybe it's because he's just really good at every situation.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, that about rounds up and wraps up in even episode 15 of Fast Expand. Episode 16 next week, 8 p.m, same time, same place. Chris, would you like to do any shout-outs before we kind of make a fairly big announcement for next week's show?
Just going to shout out to the UK SCL that me and Colin will be casting when we get a couple replays. I've had a couple sent to me, but I want to build up a bit more, sort of do a replay, possibly a replay highlight show, just see sort of how it goes depending on how many we get. But it's a big tournament, it's looking really good. I would also like to draw attention to the project I'm focusing on a bit at the most at the moment, which is my caster challenges. I've just recorded a new episode which will be up tomorrow, so please head over to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/evilguy13gaming to view that. It's very amusing. All the people I've had on recently are really good at it.
Who's tomorrow's episode featuring?
Tomorrow's episode is Florian from London Barcraft, the owner of it.
Oh, okay, that'll be interesting.
It is. He's very good at it.
Awesome, awesome. Look forward to seeing that. I am subscribed to you, and I suggest everyone else subscribes as well. And while you're at it, please subscribe to the Fast Expand YouTube, Fast Expand TV. Please follow us on Twitter at Fast Expand, and of course, if you have Facebook, which I think something crazy percentage of the population actually does, then you can look at us on Facebook at Fast Expand. You can catch myself at ButterMeUp on Twitter, and you can catch Chris at EvilGuy13Gaming on Twitter, and that matches his YouTube as well. Any sort of last announcements, Chris?
I have none. I believe it is time for an unveiling.
Yeah, definitely. So Fast Expand episode 16 goes live next week, Wednesday, 8 p.m. As per usual. We do have a very, very special guest. His name is Jurasar. He cast I-45, I believe, and he's also casting for IPL at the moment, if that's correct, or he has done some casts for IPL.
That is true. He has cast so many great tournaments, including those you just said, and also one of the recent MLGs. Yeah,
definitely. He's a massive player in the UK and now branching out to the USA scene as well. So very proud of him to come from the UK, you know, representing the UK out there. It's just absolutely amazing. He did actually cast the WCS solo casting as well. I did manage to catch his stream a little bit. He mainly focused on players that he know his audience would love. He focused on Johnny Rico and, you know, that sort of thing.
He did some other countries as well as the UK.
Yeah, he did.
Pretty sure he did the Nordic ones.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he basically cast the players that everyone wants to see, and he solo casted as well, so that's even harder job. So big props to him, and of course we'll look forward to seeing him next week as well, where he should be. Well, he's definitely doing an interview, and we might even get a few guest casts out of him. So that'd be absolutely amazing. And yeah, guys, same place, same time next week, Wednesday, 8 p.m. Fast Expand. Tell your friends.